Call the Graham County Board of Education special call meeting to order. Mr. Moody, would you lead us in prayer, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Everybody's going to thank you for this day. Thank you for all you've done for us. Your grace that your son Jesus Christ came to die and rose again for our sins. Thank you. Lord, just be at the times we're in today, Lord. We thank you for a new year, but Lord, we know it's cold and snowy and icy, Lord. I just pray for your safety. For those who are here going home and what we do for the rest of the week in school, Lord, and as kids are at home by themselves or whatever, Lord, I just pray that you watch over them and be with them, Lord, and just be with our decisions we make today and for the rest of the week and for the rest of the year, Lord. We can honor you and help these kids out the best way we know how. Thank you for all you've done for us, Lord. You're the best. Jesus' name.
And I will pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda today. Did I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? I need an approval of the December 1st, 2023 minutes.
I so moved.
Did I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? I also need a approval of the December 12th, 2023 joint meeting.
I approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Ms. Klein, has anyone signed up for public comment period? Do I have a motion to close public comment period? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, school recognitions, Ms. Knight.
So I would like to share this from the North Carolina State Superintendent of Public Instruction. We have 3 certificates here, one for each school, because the schools met expected growth last year with their testing scores. And so these were sent to me, and I would like to share those with the school and express that I know how hard they're working. By making sure that our kids are making progress and they're working on, we want our school grade to be better always, but we're making good progress toward it. And I think this is a reflection of that, and I thought that was a nice gesture to get these from the state superintendent. So one for each of the schools, and I will leave them here for you to get about.
Thank you. Leadership team updates. Ms. Sawyer, with your pink sweater.
I like pink today. It's the color. So at the high school, we are trying to get started with our second semester. We've been there a few days, but we wrapped up grades, things like that. We've started credit recovery for the students that need to earn a credit back from last semester. We have, we're planning the ACT. We'll be offering that in February. That's the statewide ACT test. So we are trying to get in some extra prep and things like that for the students. And then other than that, we're just business as usual.
Thank you. Jamie?
Yes. Before Christmas at the elementary school, we had our Christmas extravaganza, and we had approximately 500 people turn out for that. We had our Christmas performances where each of the grade levels sang and performed for their families. We had approximately 775 people attend those performances, so that was a huge success. We are, again, trying to start our middle of the year, our MOY testing, where, we do BOY, then MOY, and again, EOY with a lot of our data. And so we're hoping to get that started now, as soon as we can get back from the snow. And then if you remember after that, when I did the school improvement plans, I showed you those data protocols where we took each grade level's data from BOY and we established goals for MOY. Well, once we get this MOY data in, we're meeting with those same regional consultants. We're going to look at that data. Where did we meet the goals? Where did we fall short? And then we're going to set EOY goals based on that. So that whole process is starting over again to just review where we are with middle of the year and set goals for end of the year.
Thank you. Ms. Christie?
We are, right now, we are preparing for an early childhood event for all of our early childhood learners with Sesame Street coming with Big Clover. March 16th is going to be a pretty good event there at the high school. We have a lot of our community agencies involved with that. A lot of coming on board. You'll be seeing a lot about that around the community as we post banners and get all that information out. Rock and Read is coming up, so we're working on that too, and that is the end of February. One of my biggest things that I'm working on right now is staffing, trying to find a speech and language pathologist and trying to get all of our students served. So we are now at that crunch where we've seen a lot of schools already get to where it's hard to find related service providers that come to our area in person. And so we're trying diligently to work on that, trying to get the word out and search for someone that would come to our area or could serve all of our children. But that's it for me.
Thank you. Letitia?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to let you all know that Ms. Knott will be bringing you a name during closed session for a hopeful school nurse that we would like to employ. And then the other announcement that I would like to make is that we have broken contract with Erlanger for our school-based health center. Their last day in the building was December the 15th. And we are in negotiations right now with Advent Health and having some conversations with Appalachian Mountain Community Health Centers to see who would like to begin thinking about taking that spot and having a fully operational clinic 5 days a week. So that's the only announcements that we have right now. Do y'all have any questions about that?
Was there a reason we broke off with our money?
We were having a difficult time having a steady provider in that spot. It very much goes back to the same conversation that Ms. Christie just had. Sometimes finding a warm body is very difficult. The clinic had worked its way down to only seeing students a couple days a week, and we need a fully operational clinic. We've already proven that the numbers are significant enough that we need somebody there 5 days a week. They could not find somebody that could be there.
Did you know he's in that crisis, so.
Who knew about that? Mr. Nelson, did you know about that the medical clinic was being?
So we are in negotiations right now with a couple of different health centers to see if they will take over that place and that spot.
Ms. Nikki, are you in here? The top?
Still listening.
Okay, Lester's on the agenda. Okay. All right, field trips. Principals. You have one?
So, our English department would like to take 30 10th grade students to Knoxville, Tennessee at the end of February. They would be going to the Encore production and they would see the following stories: Telltale Heart, The Monkey's Paw, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and The Necklace. They would leave about 7:15 and return at 5.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the field trip to Knoxville for the 32 kids for the English department?
I make a motion that we approve the Knoxville trip for the English department.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, any more field trips? Okay, moving on. Lester, fiscal year 24 uniform budget.
Okay, the first document that I'll be presenting, of course, is the uniform budget fiscal year 24. There's several pages there stacked together. First page is a resolution for interim appropriations. We've already taken care of that back in June, so I'll be going over that as the second page. And I'll just mention a couple of bullets here, not the whole page. This is the budget resolution. Graham County Schools Administrative Unit, the first bullet there. These are budgeted operating expenditures, capital expenditures and revenues for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. Okay, the next page should be looking at an 8.5 by 14 page. first page there, these are the expenditures for our entire, district budget. First section I'll go over is probably the third column over. This is the local current expense fund. You'll just scan to the bottom, the last row, I'll go over the total budget for each fund. First, fund there is local current expense fund. Total budget is $1,417,725. This fund includes, the monies that we received from the county. There's $20,000 also budgeted for fines and forfeitures, and $40,000 budgeted for timber receipts. The rest is what we received from the county. Next column over is Fund 7. We don't use that fund anymore. Next column over is Fund 8. Fund 8 is where we account for our individual grants that we receive. Total for Fund 8 is $1,238,782.66. Next fund over is the State Public School Fund. Total budget there is $11,963,871. Next column over is the federal fund. Total budget there is $2,076,093.41. The last budget on this page is child nutrition. This budget is the same as the budget last year. It's $1,350,000. I'll not go over the total for this page yet, because the next page, you'll click to the next page. This is the budget for capital outlay expenditures. Now, this is a capital needs budget. As we mentioned when we had our one meeting with the county, we spoke about this budget briefly, but the budget here is $881,000. These are capital needs. These are not expenditures that we're definitely have slotted for this year, but if it's only as needed basis that we'll address these problems when they come up. So the total for all funds district-wide, $18,927,472.07. And this is our uniform budget. If you'll flip to the next page, please. To the top left, you'll see this identifies our revenues. I'm not going to go over each individual fund, but if you look at the bottom left, you'll see that our budgeted revenues equal our budget expenditures. And then the last page, this is a certification that this is a true copy of the budget by our Graham County School Board. Ms. Knight, I have signed this. Your copy hasn't been signed yet. We signed that this morning. And if you adopt this budget, the other pages will be signed by the chairperson in this. Any questions about the uniform budget?
Do I have a motion to accept the fiscal year 24 uniform budget as presented by Mr. Green? So moved. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Mr. Green, go ahead and do the small county Lovewell signing bonus.
Okay, there is a source of funding that has been legislated. It's called the Small County and Low Wealth Signing Bonus for Teachers. It's a one-page document that you have. We'll go over a couple of the items involved with this type of funding. In the middle of the page there, you'll see the purpose for this funding. It provides funds to eligible LEAs for signing bonuses to eligible teachers and instructional support personnel. Next there, the eligibility. We are eligible because we receive both of these types of funding, Small County, which is PRC 19, and Low Wealth County supplemental funding. And on that page, that is a typo. That is not PRC 32, that's PRC 31. That's from DPI's website. It's not my mistake. The first section there, special provisions. To be eligible for signing bonuses, an employee must meet all the following criteria. They have to accept employment as a certified teacher or a certified instructional support position. within an LEA that qualifies. Okay? The employee can't be employed in the prior fiscal year, and the employee has to be employed between July 1 and October 1st of this year. Okay? Here's a question that I've had in regards to instructional support personnel certified. Okay? We all know that classroom teachers qualify for this, new classroom teachers. Okay? Instructional support, and I'll read what identifies instructional support. They include duties involving social services, health services, attendance counseling, guidance services, media services, and nurses licensed through DPI. We also, the psychologists also qualify for this signing bonus, okay?
So it's a new employee.
It's a new employee, and one thing that you have to realize that the board has to make this decision. The state provides a signing bonus up to $1,000, but it has to be matched 100% from local funds. So if we have 5 employees that qualify and we decide to pay them this signing bonus out of state, $1,000 a piece, then we have to match $1,000 a piece out of local funds. So that's, that's an important part of your decision on this. Now, one thing that we also have to do, if we start this now, we have to continue this going forward until it's legislated otherwise.
Do we have the funds to do this?
Well, I mean, if we have 5 employees, we'll have to come up with $5,000 from local funds. If we have 10, well, it depends on what your signing bonus wants to be as well. You don't have to do a maximum of $1,000 out of state funds. You can do 500 and then match 500 out of local. That's a decision that we can make.
To this support, certified teachers, employment of certified teacher, is that if you actually have your certification, you're not working on it, or how does that go? Does anybody know this now?
If you accept employment as a certified teacher, I would think as long as you're eligible to hold. I would think that would be.
So you're working on it then?
Working on it, I can't answer that question.
We
haven't
will follow
found
that up, but I mean, just looking at it, I would think if you were, either if you were already certified or eligible to hold certification, we'll find that out. This is really new, this just came out, so.
Well, and about how many would that include?
About
I
5.
think we have 5 this year.
Depending on if they're certified.
5 staff that qualify for the signing bonus.
But it could change, I mean.
It could change each year.
I mean,
You might have 2 next year, you may have 10 the following year. So we'll have to continue.
Would that not be all certified teachers?
No, we say signing
New
bonus for a new teacher
New,
coming on.
legally employed.
It's an incentive to attract new people. We're one of the only counties that don't have any signing bonus. And I think this was because it comes out of our small schools funding, low wealth funding. It is an opportunity for the state to match money to help us have a signing bonus to attract new teachers.
Okay, then if they do a signing bonus, they have to sign a contract. They would sign a contract, right? Saying that they would say
It's nothing in the, I mean, they're going to have a teacher contract, but nothing in the legislation says,
They can just leave us if they want to.
I mean, nothing here says anything about.
It does say in
Other
the allotment policy manual that if an individual does receive the signing bonus, they can't receive it for 2 years afterwards.
Yeah, so like if they were in Cherokee County last year and received a signing bonus, they could come to us this year and receive it again.
exactly.
Right.
I understand that. That makes
Keep them
sense, but I'm saying if they do the signing bonus.
If they could leave the next month, there's nothing legislatively that says nothing.
Is that what Cherokee does, $1,000 signing bonus?
That's
No,
just, no, that's just.
We don't know what
I'm
their
scared.
signing bonuses are.
We don't know if there's.
But we know,
Okay.
we know.
But you can make a public records request.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen anything in a long time. They used to put out a chart about sign-on bonuses. I mean, sometimes it's $100, $100, $1,000, $5,000. Chart.
Does it make people want to work for us if we did something like that? Make them want to stay,
I don't think it would hurt. I mean, it would, but we've never had one. It's just hard to get a teacher about that period. And I think that anything that you might consider doing, given that we never really have that many meetings. And you're talking from July 1 to October 1. So it's not mid-April, it's not, so it's your people that start the school year off essentially. So that even narrows your field a little bit more.
I think the situation with your support personnel, this is where this would really, really help, correct? Am I?
If it's a full-time position and not a contract position.
Yeah, and right now we have an opening, a full-time position for a speech and language.
And would that not help if we had a signing bonus?
Possibly it could help, but we have to be so competitive with the medical field right now, and they're making way more money,
yes.
not going the educational route.
Yeah.
And that's what we're continuing with. Most related service providers, whether it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech and language pathologists, they are going the medical route. And everything's going toward teletherapy, and they're making way more by the hour than we could ever offer here as far as salary wages.
Yep.
So we're really hitting it. Graham County's really hitting it, and we are going to see more so in the next 5 years. A lot of ours are leaving, and to attract those individuals to our system is very difficult.
And to piggyback off of what she's saying, even with just a regular classroom teacher, it's someone with a 4-year degree, and they can make more using their degree just about in any capacity than they can with beginning teacher pay. And so it's very hard to be a competitive, to have something good to offer people to attract. I can offer a really good schedule, and if you're a mom, or a dad, it's nice to have the schedule of your child, and we have those things to offer, but competitive pay is not something you can even offer for a regular full-time, regular education teacher with a 4-year degree. They can make more money doing just about anything else.
I would like to add to that, a lot of what I'm hearing also, the individuals that are working through the medical provider for these services, they're able to make their own schedules and let them are able to work from home. We're competing with all of that to try to get them to come to the educational setting to where there's just a lot more involved. There's a lot more paperwork involved, even to work in the educational setting than there is the medical part. So it's very difficult. We're finding it's very difficult.
And private sector can, they really offer hefty sign-on bonuses.
That's true.
Sure.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish, what's your thoughts? I hear everybody's thoughts.
Whatever we decide on, we're locked into it until legislation, until it changes.
So I changed the CS. Now,
So,
Are we
so
not
if we go,
the amount?
if we go 500, yeah, I'm just throwing that out. If we do 500, they get class.
right. That's, that's from our side, to fund this, but on the potential employees side, the maximum that they will receive will be $2,000. It'll be $1,000 from this part of funds and $1,000 local. So is a $2,000 signing bonus, and they can answer this question, is that attractive enough, for an employee to come to Graham County Schools when we've got so much competition elsewhere, higher wages? So that's another factor,
More attractive than zero.
It is.
So again, just use that example, if we do 500 and next year, we come into a big new pot of money wherever and we have the option to add it.
Sure, we can, I think we can stay within that range. It says up to $1,000.
Let's think about the 500.
We can.
Think about 500,000. Then we change it next year.
Drowsy, what do you think?
I like it, but I also, is it gonna attract people just to stay 30 days just to get that extra $1,000 leave. Would that be,
Well, you've got
Don't
them under, what do you have them under, what do we have them under? We have them
Under a contract, but you got a 30-day bailout on the other side.
Is it 30 days we can hold?
Well, but I mean, I feel like the flip side of that too is that most people who agree to take a job in the school setting are understanding that they're accepting a position that is not competitive in pay. So they're not going into it with that mindset. I'm going to accept this position just to get $1,000 and then I'm going to walk. I don't think we would, I mean, you might run up on that occasionally, but in my opinion, through the hiring process, I don't feel like that's going to be something you see very often, but having something to tell somebody that's better than zero is going to be helpful.
I think that sounds good. And you said you have other incentives that you, if we don't pay you very well, but we have a few things we'll do for you, like work things out. Like,
Yeah, you have, you know, the same schedule as your child, or, you know, we're very understanding about sick leave, and, you know, we understand when people are sick, we're very family friendly. You know, those kinds of things are things that we can give to people that mean a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot, but we're not competitive with that.
So if we do 500, mistake, if we do 500, we're gonna get 1,000, correct?
Right. Yeah, it's a 1-to-1 match.
And we don't know what the other people, do we have any guesses
So
what other
it
people's
doesn't really- We
incentives?
just know they've got to sign up on us, and it doesn't really matter, but every school's having the same problem, it's not just us. I mean, we're not the only school, I mean, it's across the whole
Oh,
nation.
Cherokee's struggling to hire, so is Swain County, all struggling.
Everywhere.
Every one of them are, they're all in the same boat.
So Lester, this is just for new employees.
They were-
First time Graham County employees.
That's certified.
They were
Certified
That's
classroom
certified.
teachers, certified classroom teachers, and certified instruction support.
They were hired at the beginning of the school till October 1 of this past year.
If we hire someone after October 1, then qualify.
So do we go back and pay for this? No.
It's
No.
it's just a one-time payment.
Yeah, but it would be effective this school year, yes.
Right.
The term was July 1,
2024.
We would go back to July
Yes.
23 to October 1
Yes.
if we hired a new teacher.
Right.
So I have a question, sorry. And I'm the one that said I need to get home to the rest of us. Okay, so, I'm hiring hopefully someone at the February 1st meeting. And they may be a brand new employee. They're not gonna qualify for this.
Non
because
legislative.
Not legislatively. So is that something that, I mean,
That's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you were, but this pot of money was just from the beginning of school until October 1, 2023.
I think it at least communicates to the public and to those interested that we're trying, that we want them here, as opposed to, you know, Graham doesn't offer anything and the other counties do. I mean, that speaks kind of for itself. I mean, it is an effort on our behalf.
I think Mr. Carringer has a good idea to go with 500 route instead of 1,000. And that way they at least get $1,000.
Well,
I mean, that's just my opinion.
It's what they, I guess, correct?
Be taxed.
Sure.
But it's not subject to retirement. The last bullet there, number 5, these bonuses are not subject to retirement, so that this bonus will not be reported to the retirement system.
Are we ready to vote?
I think we need a motion, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Very
Do I have a motion to approve the small county Lowell signing bonus for beginning teachers and instructional personnel of $500 that we would pay and the state will pay another $500? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we do the $500 from our local funds for certified teachers and instructional support personnel that started to work July 1, 23 to October of 23.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Mr. White, facility, oh, I'm sorry, you got
One
something
more
else?
thing, yes, you received, it, no, that's fine, you received this report, this is getting the report for, grants, individual grants we received, listed there, month-to-date expenditures for December. You also have the year-to-date expenditures for each grant, and the total budget amount for each grant. Now, here's the report that was requested by a board member. As you are aware, this report is not something that we call coaching supplements. Beginning of the year, you received a 2-page document of coaching supplements. Those kinds of coaches are determined at the beginning of the year. That document may change somewhat during the year. You may have a coaching position that's vacant. You may have somebody that can't coach that gets replaced. This report is not for those coaching supplements. This report is for what we call athletic payments. It's separate from the coaching supplements. These payments are for activities such as driving a bus, athletic bus, selling tickets, maybe cleaning the gymnasium, running a clock.
Officer Reed is on there, that might be for like working a tournament, but it's not a school. I mean, it's not figured into the, is that? I'm just trying to think why.
Yeah, and now if you need the detail on these, we would have to go back to the timesheets, exactly what the activities were. It could be multiple activities, because this is year to date.
This is reimbursed back to the school.
We pay this out of local funds as well, and these are separate from the coaching supplements, and we ask for reimbursement on a quarterly basis from the high school. So that was just a request from a board member and an explanation of the two types of payments we make, large coaching supplements and athletic payments. You're welcome.
Now, are you finished?
I'm done.
Good. All right. Now, Mr. White, facilities update.
Good morning. Apologize for not being able to give my full attention to the board meeting this morning. I'm currently on a virtual training with DPI with my Western Regional Accountability Coordinator, so that's kind of why I'm in and out. But I just want to give you a quick update about what's going on with the stadium since our last meeting, the joint meeting with the commissioners. What has happened is the agreement with LS3P has been submitted to our attorney, Davis, as well as the county attorney. They have made their recommendations to the agreement, and that has been sent back to LS3P. We are currently waiting for the actual executed contract to be sent back to us, and so that's kind of where we're at right now. Also, the only other thing I think I was going to mention today was that we have submitted a grant in the amount of $42 million to the needs-based capital fund through DPI in order to hopefully be considered for a new elementary school. And so that was submitted earlier this month. And so right now, all we can do is just sit back and wait and see what happens. So,
It's great.
yeah, pray. So that's about all I have.
But you can put it where it's at right now, if we had to, yeah, you can.
I mean, but I'm saying you had to have that too. The one line.
I mean, right now, the gist is we can put it where it's at, that's kind of how we apply.
Have an empty
If
space.
between now and the time we were to get it, we were to acquire property.
That's all I have. And again, I apologize for being in and out.
Well, fine, Mr. White.
I'm going back to my RAC meeting.
All right, thank you.
All right, this night, Education in a Cup, VFW Building Project Bid.
Yeah, so, many of you are aware that we received $600,000 from the foundation for the VFW building estimate a couple of years ago. Still, code to get it, and we're, behind schedule on that, got the bid out, that's been on Facebook, it's been in the newspaper, is working with a great organization. When the bids came back for those, we only received one bid, and it was much higher than we had anticipated, so we're gonna go back to the drawing board with that before we present something to the board, and see if we can get this process negotiated. So we're gonna table that for the moment.
Personnel, Ms. Knight.
Yeah, I will be bringing you a list of, personnel, teachers, school nurse, teacher assistants, et cetera, during closed session.
Okay, Ms. Knott, Protect Our Students Act.
Well, this kind of got put on the agenda as this, and I will touch on that, but I want to back up a little bit and say that, first of all, I want to begin by saying that those people who work with our precious God-given students, our resources, our best resources in Graham County, which is our children, and I'm sure that the board feels the same way, that we are very grateful for these people that volunteer their time, whether they're paid or not paid, to spend time with these children in extracurricular activities, because it teaches these children, and hopefully one day when they grow up, if they grow up in this county, they will participate, not just in the school, but will be a member of be active citizens with helping out also. The November 7th board meeting, which I did oppose those minutes, singled out the girls wrestling program, and stated that there was a recommendation that the girls wrestling have a female always on site at practice and in tournaments and matches. That's the way the board minutes read. Now, the word recommendation means suggest or propose a best course of action. Didn't say required, just said that we recommend it. And simply because the board has started codifying this, then I want us to look at or either change this because we've singled the girls wrestling out, or look at a policy where if we have a female in any extracurricular activity working with all males, then there be another male present with that female. And vice versa. If we have a male in any extracurricular activity working with all females, there be a female in that. And not just single our wrestling out. Because frankly, our wrestling program only has one place to practice. And I think from what I understand, there's a lot of people there. And this needs to be cleaned up. For sure in these minutes where it said recommendation of female. That could be any female, obviously. It's probably not any female. It's probably another coach. But I do know that we have a school employee that has a daughter on the girls wrestling team, and I think she is frequently at practices, if not at all practices. And so, that being said, we need to go forward with a policy, or we either need to do either or. We need to have a female with a male that has all girls, or vice versa. At this point, we have a male doing the girls basketball. We have a male doing the girls softball. We have a male doing the girls golf, I believe, which is a new program, which, believe me, I think this is all great. I'm trying to think right now if we have any other situation where we have a male-female situation. But we need to look at this. Now, because the board has codified this and has moved forward with this, we need to do either or, and do it for all or do it for none. There is a new act, and it is, Protect Our Children, the act to modify penalties and definition for certain sexual offenses against students, to increase the penalties for the failure for school administrators to report certain misconduct to the State Board of Education, and require public school units to show students in grades 6 through 12 a video produced by the Center for Safe Schools containing age-appropriate information about sexual abuse, and to define conduct directly related to the Office of Employment as to pertain to the forfeitures and recruitment benefits as recommended by the Department of Public Instruction. As of February 23, they have definitely elevated the prosecution of people that mistreat our children. General statute, and I mean, this is the whole act. I can't go through all this. General statute, 115C-2070.35, license suspension and, revoke your license. There's a whole thing here. That's one statute. There's another statute, which is sexual activity with a student. Another statute, taking indecent liberties with a student. And this all comes from the General Assembly. My question is the CFSS training video, which is the Center for School Safety. Are we doing that for our 6 through 12 students? Does anybody know?
Has that video, it's not been presented, I don't believe.
Because it is, because it's, I mean, it's in this act, so is that something we need to check on?
The only thing that's mandatory right now is a sex trafficking video from the state of North Carolina. Once every 2 years.
This right here says, it says February 2023, a bill to, I don't know, so.
Well, that would come from the state, until my knowledge has not been sent.
Okay, okay.
So Ms. Knott, bottom line, you want, and I agree with everything you've said so far. You want us to have a policy requiring either a female and a male head coach coaching all females, or vice versa. Is that what you're wanting?
Well,
And I agree with that.
I'm not necessarily wanting that, but I'm saying since the board, I was not here, I had to leave, so I was not here when we came back into open session, and this was done. And this wording really needs to be cleaned up, because you're putting recommendations.
We need to turn it over then to
And
the
so
policy.
we do need for the policy folks to look at these.
Right.
Now, I can tell you that for the situation at hand, Mr. Green knows this, there's not a lot of local money. And if you're looking at this and you're looking at somebody, whether they would volunteer to do it, would they be there all the time? Who's gonna oversee this? With this new act, it's probably a good idea. But it could involve athletic, academic, because the stipends are athletic, academic, band stipend, which doesn't have anything to do with the band because they're mixed. They've got male, female. Athletic, academic, I don't know that we have any females doing strictly a boys club or anything at the high school, or vice versa. It's probably going to apply more to athletics, it certainly is. So, I mean, it's not gonna make some people happy, because it's probably gonna mean more money, having to pay more folks, because at some point in time, we do at this point have people on staff, and I think maybe we're paying them, but maybe there needs to be some discussion. So, I need to hear some discussion. That's what I'm putting forward.
I agree with Mr. Nelson too.
that we need to have a board policy.
We need to turn it over
To the board policy
policy
committee.
committee and let them clean up the language in it. And I think that's the best.
Whether there's not a board policy, we've just singled out the wrestling, is all we've done. So it needs to be,
Oh,
it needs to be all or it needs to be none.
yeah, I agree.
So Mr. Chairman Nelson, would you like for me to make a motion that we,
You go right ahead.
okay, I make a motion that we, turn over to, the, policy committee to look into, well, Protect Our Children's Act, which this needs to probably be involved in the policy. To look at if we have a male coaching all females, there needs to be a female on staff. If we have a female coaching all males, then there needs to be a male on staff. So that's my motion, Chairman Nelson.
Do I have a second?
I second you.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, Miss Davis is not here, and the next on the agenda,
She wants us to wait, she's trying to get,
oh, she is?
she's trying to get,
Are you-
so we'll need to wait.
Okay,
Mr. Nelson, can I add one more thing, please?
Sure.
Chairman Nelson. Our board minutes, at one, I've been in the school system 100 years, well, not 100 years, but, anyhow, close to it. At one point in time, our teachers got the minutes, which is public record. The minutes are public record. And I think by the time things go through this night to the principals, to the teachers, whether it gets to the teachers, I think it would be a good idea. We have email now. Now, whether they read it or not is up to them. If we can throw our minutes out there, they used to copy them and put them in our box, is what they used to do. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Nelson's been
here
here 100 years.
You're around 102 years.
Draft minutes or approved minutes?
Approved minutes.
So they're always a month behind.
Which I guess would be, I would think that would be,
They're on the, there were.
because there was some corrections, and if there's corrections, I don't want our staff to not have the corrections, so I don't know, maybe we need to have I'm sure we can.
At one time, we were just putting it on the school website. I didn't know that much too long.
Believe me, that our school website sometimes hard for me to finagle. I think if we could throw it out in an email, it would be great. It would be great. And what do you think? The minutes that, because sometimes there's a communication, breakdown, and I think that's one of our biggest problems in any large organization is communication.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that our approved minutes go out in an email, when they've been approved. They'll be a month behind, but
Are you making a motion or you want discussion about it?
no, I'm making a motion that they do.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is that on the agenda though?
No, it's not.
You-
Well, I asked for it to be on the agenda, but it didn't get put on there.
And you can make an emotion. You can make a motion, look it up under Robert's rules. You can make a motion if it's not on the agenda. Board members can make a
Well,
motion.
simply because I asked for it to be on the agenda. I did ask for it to be on the agenda because of these minutes right here that I was going to refer to. And I did ask for it because there was a misconception on that.
So you're making the motion and I'm seconding it? Is that what we determined?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't see any harm in it. I just think it's a way, and if they read it, they read it. If they don't, they don't.
Do I have that?
This, before we go,
Okay.
who would be responsible? This man.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're adding to you, sorry.
Is it not a matter of just scanning it and putting it out there? Oh, it's no big deal.
It's like a two-place.
Okay.
This is an admin thing.
All right, all in favor with this motion? Any opposed?
While we're waiting on Miss Ellen to talk about that Protect Our Students, just a little bit, I know when you reference track, where it wouldn't necessarily be band, where it's boys and girls together, but maybe the head coach is male, or like the band director is female, you know, and it's boys and girls together. Something to still think about is having the opposite sex present would also give those boys in the band someone that they could report to if they were feeling uncomfortable about anything, or, you know, similarly with track, you know, if it's a male and female situation and the head coach is male, a female may be more comfortable reporting to another female that they see in authority. And also with just trying to look at the males and females, and I understand you're trying to protect the kids from any inappropriate advances. But there are also same-sex opportunity advances toward children that can also put them at risk. And so I just think that those are all things that need to be discussed as a part of this moving forward with how to protect the kids. If we're making it clean across the board, then I think that it needs to be looked at in multiple ways, because the most common is an opposite sex person in authority taking advantage of a student. That's common, but there are other things that would need to be considered.
The thing about it is, this new law that's elevated, it's pretty, I mean, you're convicted, it's much elevated.
Jail.
As it should be.
Oh, it's jail time for sure.
As it should be.
I mean, jail time anyhow, but it's really.
With girls softball, Billy Knight's the head coach, but his wife is his full-time assistant, so there shouldn't be any problems.
Well, I know when I first came to the elementary as Mr. Lauder's assistant principal, for example, and then, you know, me and Mr. Knott are, you know, in that setting now. But when I first came to the elementary, a lot of the females would come to me and say, I'm sorry, but I need to run home, for issues that were a bit private, that they did not feel as comfortable just going to Mr. Lauder about. Nothing to do with him, but, you know, they just felt more comfortable thinking I would understand more than Mr. Lauder. You know, just because he was the guy, it's nothing he did wrong. So I was just thinking that same mindset, even in a sport or in an after-school program where it is boys and girls. And does that extend to clubs? I mean, it can get big. I think those are things that need to be discussed.
Well, come in, Miss Davis.
Hey there, where you over diehards?
This is tough.
Yes,
Now,
We are down to your board policies,
Oh, gosh, okay.
You need.
so you are on. And these are first readings? Or do we have second readings too?
Hey there. They're not first readings, they're policies you pass.
Oh,
And your administrators have to implement them, so and you have to have written information that they can implement it. So we're reviewing what the policy committee came up with
okay.
for how to implement. Hey there, good to see you all.
Well, I
Good
did.
to see you here.
Bless your heart. Happy New Year. Glad you got in here safe. You changed your card.
Yes,
You don't know how much I love that card with this fine.
well, I like it
missing.
too. I don't get a vote. Y'all. They
I'm
just.
a black card. I'm not kidding. That's so beautiful.
I'll go back to that. All right. On your attachment, policy committee, we met, and it was, Tanya, David, Adam, Erica, and Amanda. And so, keep in mind, this is implementing the policies you passed. There were a lot of emergency policies there's a huge burden on boards to respond to, for example, early graduation. The General Assembly passed that students should be able to graduate in 3 years. Okay. And the policies this thick, I mean, not the policy, the bill, and then you adopted your policy. And it was going to be September 7, 15, January 1. So it's in effect. So what you have for your first reading, and I don't know, I call it first reading, but these are you have passed the policies already in December. These are the requirements for 3-year graduation. And forms are to be executed by the parent, student, school administrator, and the superintendent. So you have these 4 executions required. So what I did is meet with your policy committee, and then if you'll look in what I just handed out, process for early graduation from high school, commencing January 2024. Okay. Page 1 is what your high school will have an assembly in David, Eric High, in January. And these are the early graduation. This is the most important information. You just stick it down to something manageable. And so 1 through 6 is the law. Well, that's really distilled. So, but I think it's pretty good for when we met. But if we need to amend it, we can. But what you're looking at is you pass the policy, but we need to implement the procedural steps. So page 1 gives law, and then number 7 gives the pros and cons, and your administrator, Erica or David, they have to give the pros and cons to the student, literally. So you have your assembly, everybody in the high school learns about early graduation. This is the guts of it. And then your student makes the request form to graduate in 3 years. So the student has to sign the form. It says if it's 18, the parent doesn't have to sign. The student is in school, the student's under your control. I think the parent should always sign. But if the law has the exception if the student is 18, but I just think that the person is a student and they're still under your command and all the policies. So, okay, so this takes that profound law, and here's the request for 3-year graduation from the student. Once again, your administrator, this is where the administrator has to cover. So when the administrator covers this, and they have to give pros and cons, like Erica or David would go over the pros and cons, the student signs off that that was all said. Okay. Then the parent has to be present when that's all said and signs off that all of this was covered. Okay. And if the parent can't be there and you're talking to the student, you still got to get the parent. All right. Then the law requires that the high school administrator execute that the minimum graduation requirements have been met. It's required to be in writing. So again, we can revise this, but I condensed it to something manageable. So the high school administrator executes this form and takes it to the superintendent, who signs that no more than 45 days has gone by. That's what's required by the law, that the administrator said the student is ready to graduate, and the superintendent signs. So that's what this is about.
And I guess, I put it under, I just did first reading on all student sort of format, but they need to implement this because they have to start this month. They have to have their assembly. And then they have to, if a student comes to the administrator, they gotta start this.
Ms. Davis, I had to leave her, when we were going over some of this early graduation stuff. Now, is this for incoming freshmen?
Mhm.
Incoming
Well,
freshmen,
also your,
or any students in high school right now?
Current freshmen and sophomores.
it's too late
I
for
mean,
your,
when I,
Current freshmen and sophomores. Okay. So you really need to just have an assembly with freshmen and sophomores?
right, yes,
Right.
yes.
Obviously, I was not there.
so, and that started, this got moved a few times and it was to start January 1. Of course, schools were still on holiday.
Yeah.
So this will cover the new statute.
Okay.
Okay. Now, hot off the press this morning, I grabbed it, I ran by the office, and there's tremendous controversy over this sudden implementation of students graduating in 3 years. You're lopping off courses. And which ones do you lop off, and some of them can't. So there is a movement underway to pull back on this. But in the meantime, it's the law. So, and I don't know what's going to happen to that, but it's back at the General Assembly, but it hasn't
Ms.
changed.
Can I ask Ms. Saunders something?
Sure.
Does this,
I mean,
does this include track-time classes? Or does
Well-
this just strictly high school classes?
This would be their high school required credits for graduation.
Okay, so whatever high school.
You can only do 22. They removed your power to do, you all do 28. And you no longer, you can leave that there for those who want to do it. But the bottom line is,
Your students will be able to request to do this 22 credit pathway. And that would only be the requirements from the state, those 22 required credits. Tri-County would just be in addition to that.
Is it not really, it's gonna hurt some of our programs, right?
Oh, it's gonna be.
I mean, it's really.
Well,
I
It's
mean,
gonna hurt a lot.
You're gonna,
Some senators won't play sports.
well, then it's gonna affect your allotments because, your students, your ADM, trying to affect your teacher allotments and.
it's for the tech education.
I mean, it's gonna take, if you take the 22, the ones that you're taking off are your CTEs, your electives, all of those are the interesting ones you're.
Well, then, roughly about every 25 students we lose as a teaching position. So.
Yes, we. He's gonna get.
Yeah, I can see she's about to start coughing.
So, it's, there's a lot of concern and a lot of unanswered questions in this.
So she said there was some things we could do. What are some things? Is there anything?
I'm not sure what you mean by what we could
She
do.
said something about it.
I'm not sure what.
Right now, it's a law.
I know it's the law, but she said we had some leeway over some things, but probably not.
Some,
Well,
Not the
some
only
people are
ones.
trying to propose things to like retract this,
Exactly.
but right now we don't.
Right now, this is it. You present this, and if they choose to go with it, right now, we have to allow it as long as they meet the requirements. But we can't offer, at that point, yes, it'd be time for us to try to sell. Well, if you were to stay in the school, well, then you get to continue in athletics, you get to add track and field classes. That's not really.
Totally correct. I think that's probably right
We're
there.
going to continue in some of these things.
Incentive. Because if the law stays the same, if the people don't change in the government, they've already passed it, they're just gonna, we might be just like Chad tried to do keep on Concord.
We don't have any leeway on any of this.
on this, on the process for early graduation, not at the moment. It's 22 hours, and you voted on it. It didn't eliminate what you saw is required for preparing for the world at 28. You can still do that, but you have to put this on the 22 on the books. which you voted on in December. And then this implements the requirements of who signs off.
It looks,
And it's right what Erica said. I mean, it's still not, it won't be easy. What do you eliminate?
but it looks to me like when you said, make sure parents of 18-year-olds are have been emancipated in accordance with the general statute, it looks like we really can't. We can't force the student to say, your parent has to sign this.
No, but my recommendation is
We can make them believe it, but
the parent should be included.
Well,
It'll come back to bite you.
I agree 100%, but
And if the parent says, no, he's 18, she's 18, then record that.
at least, yeah,
You
that's a
can
good
record it right on here that the parent guardian said, and then David can sign off. So the point is, it's on there, and I think it needs to be
Well, it's something else.
executed.
Put that right on us that fast.
An 18-year-old that's in math class here, that's on the track team, goes to the cafeteria, they gotta follow all your policies and all your requirements, and then suddenly on something this serious,
Yeah, really.
so I'd still ask the parent to be involved.
As a good practice.
Right,
Not as it's not mandated, but it's a good practice.
yes,
So Ms.
it's a
Sykes,
better practice.
Ms. Sykes, do we still not require 18-year-olds to get signatures by their parents? On certain, on just general stuff?
We do.
We did.
We require, anything that we would require parent permission on, unless they're emancipated, we require that. I mean, they're getting dismissed or permission slips or.
Because I've gotten that plenty of times. I know you think I can sign it.
We,
So an 18-year-old can't sign their own, you saying you'd have to have a parent.
as long as they're still a student, unless they're emancipated, we have them get permission from the parents.
So, at the conclusion of this, you could approve the use of this form till we amend it, and the high school works with it. But this would be approved for implementing the policy.
Are you want us to vote on this today, Ms. Davis?
Well, it's not really, no, you can vote on it next time. But in fact, they're gonna have to use something, so that they'll use this, and then you'll have a chance to look it over and come back and say you want something else. That's fine. You already passed the policy, they gotta implement it and have some proof, they have to have written proof.
So if you're gonna have your meeting in January, I know your question.
That's my question, like,
You're
we're
gonna
supposed
have
to
to
meet in
send-
January.
Yeah, you're gonna have your assembly.
So still, you would probably prefer having permission to use this form prior to your meeting.
I would feel much
You
better
said
about that.
that's
Just
right.
voted
You
with
said
that.
every-
You could do conditional, and we'll come back, put it on for next month. Just do conditional approval, then you can pour over it and, mark it up and come back.
But you're gonna be able to get this
The
in.
conditional, you gotta remember the general assembly. didn't
Whether,
do
we
much
have to
time.
have the assembly in January. And we've already got a couple students that are kind of asking about it. So, we don't want to give any kind of guidance until we do have something that's approved.
Okay, so conditional on all of this, pour over it, mark it up, but it was a way to change it, that's tremendous, changing to 22 hours and what it impacts. We're yet to know you all yet to know what it's gonna impact. But, okay.
So we need to approve that, the conditional part now.
Just do conditional approval, and we'll put it back on for next month, so you'll have time to go back, pour over it and mark it up.
And that's what you would like to see us do, you on the committee?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because they have to have their assembly
Right.
this month.
Do I have a motion to approve a conditional process for early graduation from high school commencing in January of 2024?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Ms. Davis. Go ahead.
Okay, next you have on your attachment to your agenda is staff-student relations. Again, it was a revised, the General Assembly increased the criminal penalties for school employees diddling with students. Okay, so the increase was tremendous. It went to a lot of felonies, which is right, instead of misdemeanors. So on policy 4040, staff-student relations, you already have the policy, the new policy, you passed it. So what you have before you is the State Board of Education made this, quote, emergency form. It was emergency because the General Assembly passed the law and then school boards had to immediately implement it. So the licensed educator misconduct report form, you have that in your packet. Okay, that implements, it's required. The State Board of Education issued this. It's to be utilized, and I'm sure it'll be revised. But what I did for you, and it'd be good for administrators to have, is you take the law and streamline it to something manageable. So you have your licensed educator misconduct report form. That has to be used. Okay, it's 3 pages. Then this is, this form is required for the following violations. So there's 1 to 10. So an administrator can have quick access to this. If more details needed, I mean, we can pull the law, that's not an issue. But these are the 10 items from which the law changed to must be reported on the misconduct form, and it's gone to felonies, and that's good to see. That's good to see. So what you have, you've already got the law, you already have your policy, and this is to implement it.
Ms. Davis,
So-
what about our, this says licensed educator misconduct report form. What about our folks that work with our children that are volunteers and extracurricular activities? What?
It's still a crime.
I know it is, but is it the same form?
No,
So do we have form?
you would call your SOR and law enforcement. No, this is for licensed. The law changed for licensed educators.
This is essentially the total license. I mean,
Now, this is to
Oh, yeah, that's true. They're gonna pull their license.
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, the pastor will have to have submitted something. This is nice to have everything in one place so that you submit everything, and that would make it very universal across the state. For I'm sure from DBI.
It's uniform now, yeah, all 100 counties.
Yes.
And there are 115 boards of education.
So we need to approve this supplement.
Sure, you really don't have a choice. The State Board of Ed said this shall be
It's
used.
got to be used in, yes.
So you're not.
So we don't have to approve.
Well, I think you should, that you adopted the State Board of Ed licensed educator misconduct report form. You have a record of having adopted it. I think you should. The only thing, I mean, and this is a nice synopsis of right here, so, I mean, I'd keep that part of it. And again, though, you can read these and we'll put it back on for next month, but, I think you need a record that, yes, the school is commencing using this form right away. It was sent out as an emergency form to be used immediately. Okay.
You're asking for hard approval, not contingent. No,
Yeah, this is, the board's gonna utilize the statement of that misconduct form. So if you take a motion for that, and you'll have a record of it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the licensed educator misconduct report form? For misconduct. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
only because it is graded. That's the only reason. I don't want it to be graded. Unless.
Well,
it's
you don't have a
contingent.
choice on that, it's
Right,
required.
it's law. I hear you.
Okay, policy 4326. This policy's already been approved, the student random drug testing for athletes and campus parking students. You approved it. What's clarified on it is that, it's grades, there was a clarification, under disciplinary action on page 3. It's grades 6 through 12. Under the old policy, it was 9-12. But there's now participation by 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So it's a clarification. You're not adopting a new policy. You need it clarified because it's 6-12. And that any athletic or campus parking with sponsored by Graham County Schools. This policy covers any student participating in interscholastic athletic programs sponsored by Graham County Schools. That was clarified. It used to say Robbinsville High School, but the clarification is Graham County Schools. Because you now have 6-12.
So,
This is
so that statement that says Robbinsville High School conducts a mandatory drug screening, is that what you're saying, should now read Graham County Schools?
No, let's go back under disciplinary actions. Robbinsville High School conducts a mandatory drug testing program for all students. So the person conducting, or the entity conducting.
So would that not also be middle school?
Yeah, 6-12.
So it's Robbinsville High School and middle school? Should be that.
No, the middle school doesn't. The high school controls it. Robbinsville High School conducts the program.
Okay.
The middle school doesn't conduct, doesn't have any, well, they may help, but who conducts it, who sets it up, who's the contact, the entity is Robbinsville High School.
Okay.
So Robbinsville High School conducts the mandatory drug testing program in grades 6-12. No elementary, the middle, the high school conducts it. Okay. Then, any student participating in interscholastic athletic programs sponsored by Graham County Schools. And it was switched to Graham County Schools as opposed to Robbinsville High School. So those were clarifications, not changing anything. Nothing about drug testing has changed, just clarify. So that's for you to pass the clarification.
Do I have a motion to approve the clarifications on the student random drug testing for athletes and campus parking students?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I want to, is there any other options besides oppose? I don't necessarily oppose, but I didn't pass this. So I want to hold to my word. Yeah, I oppose. Let's just put that down and I explain it.
Okay, the last one is, there's a brand new statute. What controls parts of this general statutes that control boards of education is North Carolina General Statute 115C. You know, that's a big, 115C is a big book. Well, 115C, 158.10 is called Career Development Plans for 7th graders and 10th graders. So again, this is on there for your information. You already passed it in December. Okay. But we talked about it at policy committee. And if you'll look in your folder that I handed out, you have career development plans. And what's new, you've had career development plans before, but this is a new animal in terms of what's required. Middle and high school students must complete a career development plan with specified content. It's going to be given to us by Department of Public Instruction. A student cannot be permitted, this is brand new, a student cannot be promoted from 7th grade until a career development plan is created. So that's something new for your administrators. There's no promotion from 7th grade until you have a career development plan. And it's specified and it will be given to you by DPI. I've not seen it yet, but they're working on it. Then a student cannot be promoted from 10th grade until a career development plan is revised. And so it has to be in writing. There'll be specific content and no money. The legislation came without any funding, of course. And then what I did was take, I'd be glad to provide the new statute, but again, it's very lengthy, but this sums it up nicely. And I can't remember if I got this today. I'll get it to y'all. Oh, I'll get all of this to you. I know I got some of it here.
Is this not going to tie in with this new 22 credit graduation thing? Sorry, what do you
I
say?
mean, it would, before they can move from 10th to 11th grade, this would be a piece they have to go.
They have to complete it or have it in place.
They would have to revise their plan that was made in 7th grade. So, or unless it was a student that moved in after 7th grade, we would be looking at it.
So,
Graduation.
It's just the youngsters.
now the
They're
7th
very responsible for doing this.
Oh,
Ms. Wiggins. And I probably, probably need some help from Ms. Knott at the middle school.
I heard that it's department.
Guidance department.
But really, I've tried to listen critically, and I believe if we are going to advertise the notion of 22 credits, it almost makes sense that you're gonna have a plan for those students that are gonna walk out your doors, that you need to know what their career plans are. So I think you can weave it in nicely. I mean, I thought it's not too far reaching.
I think it's important, again, this is more informative that you recognized in December, you passed the policy. But this is letting you know that your staff is, they've got a crunch for the 7th grade, for the 10th grade, and then this information below is a summation of the new statute. And they've got a lot on them to cover. There has to be self-assessment of aptitude, skills, values, personality, and career interests. You have to meet with the student for exploration and identification of pathways for careers aligned with the student's self-assessment. Identify needed education, training, and certifications. Opportunities within the school setting to explore and prepare for the career. No money. It's not funded. So your administrators have all of this to do, and I think this is a good summation. But they have to create a career portfolio.
But all of our kids already have career development plans, is that correct? If they're
And in middle school, there's a tremendous amount of that exploration that happens in some of our middle grades. And at least you're building upon what's already starting and then being established. Ellen, is that for this year's current 10th grade students? Or will be for next year's 10th grade students?
It's for anyone who was in the 7th grade and the 10th grade as of October 2023.
Well, what it says at the top is that it's issued in 2023, prior to the 24-25 school year. Ready.
Meeting with them this year for next year, and then have a plan for the 2 plans for 24-25.
So meet with your freshmen or meet with your sophomores for this year?
The 7th grade would be middle school.
You really don't have to do extra, I mean, both. Both.
Okay, so there's really, this is just letting you know that on the policy you passed in December, that this is a summation of what's coming down the pipe from your administrators for 7th and 10th grade, and it's not funded. But as soon as I find out what the format is, but you're having to get ready for it. So, okay, all right, that's it. Thank you.
So we don't have to approve this.
No,
Okay.
Chairman Nelson, I'd like to do a point of order.
I'm listening.
Board policies that have been misused, not followed with the agenda, closed session, Robert's rules, parliamentary procedure, some things that you're on, Mr. Nelson, as board policies for my documents, because this is so much, who wants to stay for all this, and I would have to present. But because I've learned something recently that I didn't know, I have to bring it up now. I can't do one more meeting and I'll have to go on, or I'm complicit. So here's what I was going to ask the board to consider. I need to present all the information that is going to back up what I just said, but it will take time. And maybe we could do a special meeting. We could push it to February. I'm open to anything. But I must present all of the information I have, and it's going to be, I'm going to say 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops, but it's going to have to be discussed. So it's going to be up to y'all how long this actually goes on. Even you guys will become part of that. But I'm going to make a bold statement. I believe like a shadow government is operated in here in crosswise with what the board policies require. And I know that's a pretty big bold statement to make to y'all, but I've got the receipts where I would never say anything like that. I don't think you're all bad people. I just think that there's been bad habits developed, and that can happen anywhere. But some of it's pretty egregious, which is why I need to present information, emails. At this time, I'm not doing FOIA requests, but FOIA requests could be on the horizon, which will then take us out even further. And more time, even more time. So you guys tell me how you want to handle it, but I had to do this as a board member, or I'm compliant with what I have seen go on in here since I began my time in number 5 chair.
So do you want to be on the next meeting?
Either that or a special meeting. This is going to become egregious. This isn't going to be a small amount of problems here. I mean, especially if I have to go FOIA. This is going to become, I need to present emails. I don't want to falsely accuse anyone. I want you to know in the end, I've given you the proof. You can take it or leave it at that point, but I can't. After that, I read a policy on the Robert's rules, and it was point of order, point of knowledge. There's a whole bunch of things that we're not following. And I don't know about you, Pam, how long do you wait for documents when you ask for them? I wait 3 weeks sometimes months for information.
think
And then when they get it, it ain't right. Okay, there's a whole lawlessness, like, that's why I called it like a shadow government. There's a lawlessness that's going on in here that goes to business practices, to Robert's rules, it goes to parliamentary, it goes to, I mean, what's the two things we do in here every single month? Agenda and closed session. Do we not follow those policies at least to the letter of those, at least those two? And I've seen it go by the wayside
I
time.
don't even know what you're talking about.
I know, that's why I'm having to
Well,
explain
I
it.
can tell you that on the videos that we purchased, which I hope our teachers are using for credit, I don't know if they are or not. I have watched the parliamentary procedure one. That's probably not something that teachers want to do, but they get credit for it. They would get education, they would get their CEUs for that. But I have watched the parliamentary procedure and it's very good. Some of it, lies, can apply, but it's something that I don't know if any of you all have watched any of the videos. I have watched 3 of them. Plan to watch all of them before it all goes, but I have watched the parliamentary procedure. So I will get and watch that.
Our board policies on the website, if you look up parliamentary procedure and you click on it, what comes up is Robert's Rules of Order. I didn't know to read them. Honest to God, I wish I hadn't let a whole year go by, but I didn't know to read those. I knew parliamentary procedure because 6 years in 4-H, I knew what to do, but I didn't know Robert's rules. So when I read them, that's when I became understanding here that every time a board policy has gone by the wayside, we're all guilty. Every single member, everybody's guilty.
Maybe that needs to be one of our trainings.
Well, I was going to make a policy today and today. I know we all have stuff to do. I'm just coming off of sickness. I honest to God, I couldn't hardly present myself. But I want a time. I want a time whether it's a special meeting, which I think, if you want to know my opinion, a special meeting, because there could be laws broken. I am learning since these policies that I had to read and not read sometimes and pass in bulk, that there's laws in it. I don't even know how many laws could be broken, but they could be because we start talking about closed session. Well, closed session, more than 2 people talking about anything to do with school, more than 2 people talking about anything to do with school, it's only in this arena. If it's in closed session, we have now violated closed session. And important to know how many people were involved. This could get really, it needs to be.
That's more than 2 people out in the community talking, not in closed session, ma'am.
No,
You are,
no closed session, everybody should be talking, but you have what topics? What
personnel,
topics? And
that's it.
no, personnel, legal issues,
Well-
and personal information.
But most of it is personnel. We need to move on. I need a motion to go into closed session.
I mean, you're not gonna. fix
No,
the time?
I'm not, because it's
Okay.
ridiculous. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Davis,
Miss
you have anything to say?
I mean, it's not, can I have a motion to go into closed session, please? No.
No, you feel fine about going on, moving on. The people that are supposed to speak haven't spoken. There's nothing else you can do now.
Pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, parentheses A, parentheses 3, and 143-318.11, 318.11, parentheses C, I move the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session to receive advice from Ms. Ellen Davis, attorney for Graham County Board of Schools, Graham County Board of Education, which comes within the review of the attorney-client privilege. The advice will be general and legal advice about legal issues and legal matters. Pursuant to the revision of the North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, parentheses C, I move that the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of considering personnel matters as defined in and allowed by the North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, parentheses 1, parentheses 6, and the North Carolina General Statute 115C-321.
Do I have a second?
So.
All in favor? Good as an elementary teacher.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Go ahead.
I'd like to recommend Becca Reap and Barbara Aldridge as teacher assistants.
Do I have a motion to approve as teacher assistants Becca Reap and Barbara Aldridge?
Some of
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay,
I'd like to recommend as the elementary school nurse Rebecca Foster.
do I have a motion to approve Rebecca Foster as elementary school nurse? Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend Chris McClung as a bus driver substitute.
Do I have a motion to approve Chris McClung as a bus driver substitute?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend as a 21st Century Learning Center volunteer Alicia Farley.
Do I have a motion to approve Alicia Farley as a 21st Century Learning Center volunteer?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend as a 21st Century Learning Center substitute April Moorfield.
Do I have a motion to approve April Moorfield as a 21st Century Learning Center substitute?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
And I'd like to recommend as a volunteer for the athletic programs Willie Riddle.
Do I have a motion to approve Willie Riddle as a volunteer for the athletic program?
I so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Is that all you have? Ms. Knight, any announcements?
Would like to make a budget amendment, agenda amendment to include, budget items, budget matters. Chairman Nelson,
Go ahead.
budget matters for, 2020, let's see. For 20, 20, 20, 21, 21, 20, no, it's not right. 2021, 22, 23, 23, 24, salaries, for nursing assistants and nurses and SOO officers for the past 3 years. And apparently Lester's not here, so.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
And I make a motion that, well, no, it just needs to be in the policy. It's not a motion. I requested this information and it's not been.
Wait a second. You're making a motion to amend the agenda to add this.
Yes, I'm making a motion to amend the agenda.
And then you have a vote on if you're going to amend your agenda today. Or are you asking for it to be put on the
Okay,
next agenda?
let me do it this way. I want to make a motion that on the next board minutes, we, budget matters for, the year 23, 24, 22, 23, and 21, 22, for the past 3 years, salaries for nursing assistants and nurses and SOO officers for the last 3 years. I make a motion that go on the agenda for next, board minutes.
Okay. Do I have, all right, you've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Knight, announcements.
So the next regularly scheduled board meeting will be February 6th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Normal, we're back to normal. Whatever normal.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? We got a second. All in favor? We are adjourned. An elementary teacher.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Go ahead.
I'd like to recommend Becca Reap and Barbara Aldridge as teacher assistants.
Do I have a motion to approve as teacher assistants Becca Reap and Barbara Aldridge?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
I'd like to recommend as the elementary school nurse, Rebecca Foster.
Do I have a motion to approve Rebecca Foster as elementary school nurse? Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend Chris McClung as a bus driver substitute.
Do I have a motion to approve Chris McClung as a bus driver substitute?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend as a 21st Century Learning Center volunteer, Alicia Farley.
Do I have a motion to approve Alicia Farley as a 21st Century Learning Center volunteer?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'd like to recommend as a 21st Century Learning Center substitute, April Moorfield.
Do I have a motion to approve April Moorfield as a 21st Century Learning Center substitute?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
And I'd like to recommend as a volunteer for the athletic programs, Willie Riddle.
Do I have a motion to approve Willie Riddle as a volunteer for the athletic program?
I so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Is that all you have? Ms. Knight, any announcements?
Would like to make a budget amendment, agenda amendment to include, budget items, budget matters. Chairman Nelson,
Go ahead.
budget matters for, 2020, let's see. For 20, 20, 20, 21, 21, 20, no, it's not right. 2021, 22, 23, 23, 24, salaries, for nursing assistants and nurses and SOO officers for the past 3 years. And apparently Lester's not here, so.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
And I make a motion that, well, no, it just needs to be in the policy. It's not a motion. I requested this information and it's not being.
Wait a second. You're making a motion to amend the agenda to add this.
Yes, I'm making a motion to amend the agenda.
Then you have a vote on if you're going to amend your agenda today. Or are you asking for it to be put on the
Okay,
next agenda?
let me do it this way. I want to make a motion that on the next board minutes, we, budget matters for, the year 23, 24, 22, 23, and 21, 22, for the past 3 years, salaries for nursing assistants and nurses and SOO officers for the last 3 years. I make a motion that go on the agenda for next, board minutes.
Yeah. Do I have, all right, you've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Knight, announcements.
So the next regularly scheduled board meeting will be February 6th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Normal, we're back to normal. Whatever normal is.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? We got a second. All in favor? We are adjourned.